Hi. Hi. I'm wanting to talk to you about what is anti-oppressive social work, and this is this is kind of a complex question. And if you're not quite sure what social work is, perhaps check out my earlier message and video. So for now, what I want to do is actually talk to you more around what I how I've come to understand social work through my practice over many decades, and why anti-oppressive social work might seem a strange thing to claim that I am, but it's an important position. First of all, all sorts of people are social workers and work in all sorts of places. And as a consequence, our values, while ostensibly are the same, because we all are meant to abide by the code of ethics for our profession, there's one thing to profess to certain values, there's another thing to practice those values. And as I mentioned earlier, the key values in social work in Australia are respect, social justice, and professional integrity. How those values get interpreted in the various places we might be employed as social workers is far from straightforward, and not all about the competence and goodwill of the social worker themselves. So why I'm interested in anti-oppressive social work is that it's about going above and beyond, going the extra step to double check what we're doing, what I'm doing, to make sure I'm not adding to the problem of the people, the person I'm working with. Now, that might in itself seem like a strange thing to say when we know that social work is about helping other people. But the context in which we meet and the complexity of people's situations can often mean that it's far from an equal relationship with the people we're trying to help, and it's far from straightforward what might help. And in fact, we as social workers can have a different point of view about what might be helpful. Take, for example, someone who is extremely distressed, where people are very concerned about them, and they're showing signs of a mental illness, where they're not willing to go to a public hospital for assessment. It might be that I might have to make a decision that is different from what they want for the purpose of their safety and well-being, or the safety and well-being of someone else. And it might be that if I'm an authorised mental health practitioner in a mental health service, that I have the authority under the Mental Health Act to be part of acting against what that person wants. So as an anti-oppressive practice social worker, that is a very troubling situation to me, because I am not acting to uphold the wishes of the person. And I'm presuming to know that some other action would be in their best interest. That is very, very powerful position to be in, and can have some very serious and disempowering consequences for the other person. So when I'm an anti-oppressive practice social worker, I really need to double check, triple check my actions, make sure I'm acting with least restrictive practice for that person, do everything I can to build supports and opportunities for people in distress, so that their only choice, at least from the social worker's perspective, is that they have to go and possibly be detained in a mental health facility against their wishes. So there are a lot of other actions and responsibilities that come with a commitment to being anti-oppressive, such that I'm not always repeating that same dilemma of acting against someone's best wishes from their point of view, because I think something more significant needs to happen for their safety or someone else's safety, just to use that example. So there will often be situations when we're, as social workers, especially when we have statutory responsibilities under legislation such as the Mental Health Act, but other legislation as well, depending where we're working, where we are acting against what that person wants. And I think you can't be too careful, can't be too reflective, and there's an extra level of responsibility around that. And so as just one quick example, what I do to try and contribute to the development of practice options so that social workers aren't constantly in a position of needing to place people under the Mental Health Act is I support a local community organisation that is looking to build non-coercive farm-based residential spaces for people to be supported, freely supported as they're going through their mental health distress and experience. So there are extra levels of obligation being anti-oppressive, and it can be really a challenging situation to have to act against your values of respect for the person, to enact an authority that might seem disrespectful to their wishes in the short term. So there are no quick answers. There is a lot of soul searching that has to happen. And one of the most important resources I would recommend after all my years of practice is the importance of supervision and professional supervision. It doesn't have all the answers, but it can be really helpful to think through some of the complexities I was just talking about. So that's a little bit about why I like to call myself an anti-oppressive social work practitioner. Thank you.